Charlie, you have to come with us to Candy
Are you
Mountain.
freaking kidding me? Right as I want to go to sleep, go. Hello, robotic. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. My apologies, Leon. However, you can still go to sleep. I can just be speaking in your great background with my super nice and silky voice. No. Feel like this one little tool that I'm using, which I think is technically, I think it's a smudger. It's literally a smudger. It kind of acts like a paintbrush, which is kind of nice. That just means I can paint with a mouse. I don't like that as much. Is that Elmo just popping in? Nice, nice, nice. Let's see. Where are the reps? Not funny produce. Oh, I turned those off up in at one point because I didn't have my camera for like a week. But I could go turn those back on in a moment. But you know what? I will still go to bed and put my phone away. I wish you a good stream and later good night and later good night. And yep, because I'm freaking tired. Yep. I've been playing Far Cry 26 for 4 hours or something. That's crazy, bro. Is that Far Cry? FC? What you mean? I will. Where is my dumbbell, by the way? It's over there. My singular dumbbell, you know, one of them. But yeah, I couldn't join the other live streams for a week because I got my phone taken away by the police. I didn't do it. It was my classmate. That's crazy, bro. So what is it that your classmate did, Elmo? What did your classmate do that got your phone allegedly taken away? Let's see. I believe not Far Cry, FIFA. Ah, I see. Okay. Trust draw Darth Vader in the No. This is for my book cover. So I have, obviously my book is published. For those who don't know, my book is published. But I've been surfing the internet with among comment sections with other people, and one of I say one. There are a couple of comment sections that where people said this, where someone said that my cover looked kind of like fan art and like it wasn't like professional. Which on one hand, it's obviously I'm an indie author, so it's like, of course, it's gonna look like fan art because one, I painted it. By the way, that's what that is. That's literally the cover painted. And then, but on top of that, because it's not a popular thing, of course, it's gonna look like fan art or something because it's not a popular thing. So it's not gonna look official because there's nothing to go off of. So, that said, I thought, let me just throw it in the ChatGPT real quick because I already have it painted. I already did like all like so I painted it, threw it in the Photoshop, color corrected it, put the titling and stuff on it, and that was all fine. So I was like, all right, let me throw it in ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. And it came up with basically this, which looks really cool, I think. So, so my thought is if I can clean this up to a point where it doesn't look just blatantly AI, because obviously like if I zoom in here, like his hand is all completely screwed up, so I'm gonna have to manually fix that. Also they didn't really have faces to begin with over there, but even like his hands are kind of all melted together a little bit. Actually, kind of surprisingly enough, it kind of preserved their hands, because all things considered. But like it even like kept his thumb and other stuff like this. But still, I want to fix it up a little bit. But I really like how this turned out. But then you zoom in here and it like looks kind of strange. Like when you zoom out, looks awesome, but as soon as you like zoom in, like any AI image, you zoom in and it's like, oh, I look like that. So yeah, so if I can fix this up, then I might do not a re-release, but like an improved release of the novel, because I am sure that if I go through and do like one more pass through, or 2 or 3 more pass throughs of polishing, that I am bound to find something like a missed comma or an opportunity for a comma that would make something clearer, or a missed quotation mark or something. Or maybe I haven't looked at the page numbers, but maybe by some fluke chance the page numbers got thrown off from the PDF, even though I checked it 13,000 times. But all that said, but even if it's not any of those, it's like, I'm sure there'll be something that stands out that I would want to improve beyond what's already there. So I'm thinking that I'll have this book as it is, because some people have already bought this, and if you want to buy it, go ahead. I'm not going to change anything as far as the book goes, like as far as the story goes. But if you want to buy it, that would be kind of neat, because if ever I do like go around and improve stuff, which I probably will in some degree of time, I'll put this cover on it, probably. So yeah, so that's all nice and dandy. But yeah, but people were saying like, oh, it looks like fan art or whatever. So I was just like, all right, let me tell ChatGPT to make it look more professional. It came up with this really cool thing. So I'm gonna at least try and fix this up to make it look somewhat presentable, if not just as presentable as it possibly can be. And if I like it, and if other people seem to like it, it would be down for a re-release of some sort that features this cover. And then the old painting, or the old cover, the current cover, can be like a limited edition type of deal, sort of. Let's see. I'm just glad you didn't use AI completely. Oh yeah, no, for sure. I still 100% hate AI. But yes, it's a good environment. Oh yes, but yeah, I still hate AI for everything that it is, but it has its uses. So for example, like with this that I'm working on right now, I was just fixing up. So you see, hold on, let me do some of these and then I can actually, I'll resume. But so if I come down, I don't know, let's go. I can't. Nope. Hold on. Want to get somewhere that you can look and see what I'm talking about. So imagine this part over here, where I hope that's in frame on mobile, but like on the wing, how you see like it looks kind of webby and like it's like little like weird intersections and like creases and stuff. Part of that is supposed to be there because of the wings and how they're painted, but because of AI, it kind of cross-weaved a bunch of stuff, so it looked like a web, which on the surface looked kind of cool, but it did it like throughout the thing. So like even the guy's face that you definitely see, his face was also really like webbed and weird looking. So I did just fix all that before I went live. But like I can show you probably. If I go over here, this? Yeah, so if I drop that in here. Yeah, so this is what it looked like before. So you see how like this is all super webbed right here, and then like his face looks really kind of whatever. The painting itself, or not the painting, the AI render of it looks really good just on its own, but it just has all this weird webbing, weird stuff going on here. So I threw it into CapCut on their like image fixer thing. And that took care of most of the webbing in the blue area. Didn't take care of all this necessarily, but it got rid of the bulk. So that's just a whole bunch of less things to worry about for me now, which is good. But now I'm just going through and just doing some basic mending and stuff. So, okay, bye, Elmo. I'm technically not supposed to tell you. That's all right. I'm sure it'll be fine. But let's see. Google for my 19th birthday. Let's see. Let me make sure I haven't invaders. But hold on, let me catch up. Where am I at? Okay, fire. George Vader. Yep. Yep. And Darth Vader spin off, but the cover does look good. Yep. Go for my 9th birthday next year. I want to have custom painting from you of Star Wars, and you better send that thing for free to me. I have extra paint that I don't plan on using. For the next book cover, I'm gonna make a little like action figure kind of thing and pose that in some lighting and stuff, and that's gonna look really good, I think, if it turns out. Obviously it has to turn out right, but I have a plan for that thing, which won't require the paint, at least not to the degree that this did. I might use some of the red paint for some of it, but yeah, no, I still have plenty of paint, so I could theoretically. Will you do another book in the future? Yes. Something that goes in another direction, maybe like sci-fi, or I don't know, the crazy multiverse. So that is what this is. This book, this doesn't have the multiverse stuff going yet, but in the very last chapter, I believe it's the very last chapter. Well, not the very last chapter. Chapter 12. There's 13 chapters. The last chapter is technically outside of the story. Technically, not really. But chapter 12, which is only like 5 pages long, goes like, it's very like out of context, and even like my alpha readers, they were like, what in the heck is this? Like the whole book, like they liked the whole book, but as soon as I got to there, it's like, what is this? I'm just like, don't worry, that sets up the next thing. So they're like, okay. So they were okay with that. So because it's supposed to kind of tie in everything. Once the next book comes out, you'll see how that ties everything. So right now it does look very out of context and very like, what the heck is this doing here? But you'll get it eventually. But yeah, no, but this is sci-fi. All the applicable genres that could go to this is sci-fi, thriller, fantasy, allegory, mythic retelling, reimagination, recontextualization. Yeah, sci-fi. I want to say Christian, but it's not. So it's very heavily influenced by, and like even on the back of the book, like it's very heavily influenced by my faith. But the book itself, it's interesting. It's how it. So I'll put it this way: God works the way He works, and I sort of translate myself into being God over this universe. And I translate that in the book. There's a little section that kind of says like how like I am God over the story, but I, being God, am still Jared, who is a Christian under God. So the Icarus what if Icarus communicates with me, for example, canonically, he is talking to me, who is a Christian. So that's how that works. But But I still kind of step into the shoes of God in a way, but I do so to my understanding, not what God would do, or trying to say like this is what God would call righteous or what he would call unrighteous or whatever. I'm just simply saying this is how God works, not what he does, but how it actually functions in terms of his relationship between himself and a creation at all. That's kind of where that comes in. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm God, this is what he would do, and if you were to ever talk to characters, that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally, this is how he works, not what he does. So, yeah. To my understanding, obviously, because I'm not God. I don't know all the intricacies of how everything works, but I know what I know. So but yeah, those are all the kind of genres that go into it. Sci-fi, fantasy, mythic, reimagination, which is literally a genre, by the way. When you're able to select genres on Amazon to when I publish my book, when it gives you like the selections to mythic reimagination is literally a choice that I can pick, and I did pick it. So so that was kind of funny because I didn't imagine that because I knew that was a thing that could be picked, but I didn't realize that was like literally, or not picked, but like I knew like that was like kind of a topic, I guess, or a theme, but I didn't realize that was like literally a genre to choose. So I thought that was interesting. But let's see. We need to do a presentation on why AI is good and bad. Oh yeah, 100%. I really like the new cover. Man, I would love the book with the old and new cover, but I don't want to buy it twice. You better put some kind of secret Easter egg, some secret or Easter egg from one of my things in your next book. Bro created something out of something our human brains could understand. Yep. By the way, did you see all that UFO stuff? All these things, Trump and the thing, government posted. Don't really know anything over there. But you guys, we also changed those three. I won't miss it. Doesn't make sense. So, these guys, again, like his hand and like these guys' faces and stuff, I'm gonna like actually, that's when I'll like pull out the markers and stuff and actually mark it up. But as far as the UFO stuff, I've seen it floating around, not the UFO. I've seen the media of people talking about all that floating around on the socials, and but I haven't kept up with it enough to really have an opinion on it particularly. I have my opinions, but like they aren't grounded to the point of like me actually saying anything with conviction. I have ideas, but they're not like, hey, you should listen to me because I know everything. There are plenty of things I will talk about that in that sort of way, but that isn't one of them. But I will say I do think it's all kind of a mask, because according to not only prophecy but also just how people work and how all the higher uppy people work, and with the rise of AI as well, all this stuff exists almost to kind of be like a smokescreen for what's actually real and what's not. Because with AI and with like CGI was step one. Like people were like, oh, this CGI, someone could just animate something and it would be fake. Like that's just animated. But with AI, everything, because it is flawed, but at the same time, because it can sometimes look real, it is quite literally by definition hit or miss on whether or not something's AI or not. So, and obviously there are the situations where it's like, oh, that's obviously AI because that's a cat made out of yarn or whatever. It's like, okay, well, duh. But when it comes to like, say like a government meeting, low quality videos are super easy to fake because all you have to do is make an AI video and lower the resolution, maybe throw it into Photoshop or something and fix up a couple of fingers or something, or whatever other artifacts. But apart from that, it's very low effort to make a low quality video completely fake and people believe it. So on top of that, the devil is a big fan of a big lie, which basically is because if I tell you, I'm rich, you're probably going to look at my surroundings and look at how I behave and what I talk about, and you're probably going to say, no, he isn't. So it's like, okay, so that's a little lie. But if I go so far out and I say I'm related to this person, I know this guy, I went to this place, and I like kind of compare everything to all these different events or whatever, and you like go and check, be like, okay, nothing really says he's here, but he does say everything with the level of accuracy that like he must have been there. So, or whatever. That's generally the concept of what the big lie is. So when you have something like the UFOs, it's like, it's such an unbelievable thing that it becomes believable, because it's a situation where it's like no one would make this up. No one would actually try and tell us this stuff is real when it isn't. And because it's so obviously a fake thing that for people to think that if someone is actually trying to be like, oh, this is actually real, unironically, or seemingly unironically anyway, then it actually does become believable, no, despite how bizarre it might seem. So that's how the big lie works. It's so big that it becomes believable. So, but it's hard to tell because AI muddles everything. Because if someone says like, oh, this AI or this UFO thing is real, then it's like, well, is it? You know, I do not want that to be there. That draws too much. But yeah, let's see. Also, what are you saying about the Easter egg thing in the next book? And I should seriously go to Super Soon, haven't been awake now. Also, Red Bull Germany. Also, look at Red Bull Germany on TikTok. Look at their stream for one time. I think the dog needs a pipe. Oh yeah, for sure. I do believe aliens exist. We are definitely not the only species. Okay, so I'll address the alien thing, and then I'll address. So, real quick, the Easter egg thing. I could throw in something, I'm sure, because it's like, man, this smudger is not smudging very good. Oh, never mind. There we go. Now it smudges. Good smudging. All right, good. Easter egg thing, that's easy enough. I can 100% Easter egg something. Now for the alien thing, I think aliens are I also think aliens are real, except try this. Anytime you see someone talk about aliens or be like, aliens did this thing, or aliens came down and like gave the Egyptians their secret stuff way back in the past, where aliens came and did this, replace aliens with demons, and it'll make 1,000 times more sense. I promise. You replace it with demons, and it will make a lot more sense. And because aliens, that's very dissociated, and you can easily like kind of discount aliens and be like, oh, aliens. Oh. But if you actually like go with a term that is real, such as demons, and actually like apply it and litmus test it and all that stuff, it makes a lot more sense. So, because the Bible does talk about that too, and like even in the Book of Enoch, it talks about how fallen angels came down and revealed secrets of the universe to humans. It's like, well, if people are saying the aliens did that, then that it's like how dinosaurs, dragons, leviathans, and kaijus are literally all the exact same word for the same thing. They literally all describe the same thing. Like people like dinosaur, big angry toothy lizard thing. Leviathans, big angry toothy thing, but in the water. Or kaijus, it's just a big lizard toothy thing in the Asia region or whatever. Or dragons, you see that in like Europe and India and stuff like that. It's like yeah, they're all just describing the same thing with different words. So same thing with aliens and demons. Aliens and demons are literally the same. So, or the boogeyman or whatever, or you know, I'm sure there's other things that you can apply, but definitely between aliens and demons, those are literally the exact same thing. I think. I don't think. I'm convinced that those are literally the exact same thing. But I do believe it. Oh, yeah, definitely. There's definitely some life out there. I don't know about that, but scroll up to my question. My question always was and is: if aliens exist, do they have a god? Do they believe in God? If something's floating, and that's something floating in mind. Okay, so if aliens exist, let's explore that for half a second. If aliens exist, do they have a god? I would imagine, and just by pure logic and just how things work, if everything is created by God and aliens also exist, then their god would be the same as ours because they're in the same creation. Like they're in the same universe. Everything is made. God isn't God over Earth. He's God over everything. So they would have the same. Their Yahweh would be the same Yahweh as ours. So because it's literally the same creator. Now, as far as the reason, one of the main reasons I don't think they exist is one, we haven't seen it, which you can't prove a negative. So it's like, it's as far as that goes, just because you haven't seen it doesn't negate its existence. So that's the only fallacy there, being like, oh, we haven't found it, so it must not exist. I can concede that, okay, that's a fair enough argument. Just because we haven't found it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Fine. But on the other hand, when it comes to like, oh, well, how could God be a loving God if he came to Earth, did all this stuff as Jesus or whatever, and then died, but aliens weren't here to hear about it, and they're just all out somewhere on the other side of the universe to not seeing anything or not knowing about them, and they're just all going to be damned forever because they never heard about it. It's ultimately, God would figure out a way to reach them. First of all, it's not, if there was another civilization somewhere, he's gonna reach them somehow. He does the same thing on Earth. If you want to zoom out or zoom back in on if Earth is a micro scale to the universe, God reaches people despite them actually knowing about Jesus. Like the man on the stranded island scenario is literally impossible, because it's like, oh, well, he's on a stranded island, how could it possibly know? God will reach him. This has been documented that people are reached despite their circumstances. So that is a statistical like anomaly for someone to just never know that God exists, or let alone never hear about him. So I think that would also apply to aliens, that they observe the same universe we do. Some atheists will be studying science and math and all this other stuff, and they will be convinced that God exists. So if just by math alone people are convinced that God exists, then by extension, aliens will probably also study math and realize God exists. Now, as far as just my not believing they exist to begin with, it's a thing. Again, it goes back to the demon thing, where it's like they're probably just demons floating around and trying to convince people that all this other stuff happens. It's also very deceptive because, like I said, people argue like, oh, well, how can aliens or whatever this? And it's like, well, people will just kind of take a shortcut and say, oh, they couldn't be saved, and then they just kind of kill it there. So people are disingenuous in that way. I just thought of all that off the top of my head just now, because I am intellectually honest with my arguments. So there you go. Not to pat myself on the back, but it's true. But yeah. So there's that. Okay, I need to sleep now. I'm starting to get a headache, but send me a picture of the cover when you finish so I can see it tomorrow. Also, my best friend and I are going to watch the finale of the Amazing Digital Circus in the cinema, if I haven't told you that. Oh yeah, you did say that we were doing that. Do not let me know how it is. I'm sure it'll be good. You don't need to tell me that it's good or bad or whatever. I'm sure it will probably be good, but I'm going to watch it whenever it comes out on the YouTube or Netflix, whichever one I'm on and I see it. But yeah, no, I'm sure it'll be great. But yeah, have a good night, Leon. Get a good sleep. Don't stay up too late. and doom scroll. Don't do that. If you're gonna doom scroll, might as well just hang out with me. Watch me work. Watch me do all this super epic stuff. But yeah. Man, I really like how it did this, where it's like, you know, because this, it doesn't do that. That's just kind of like a glow, but this like makes it electric, which is really nice. Bye-bye. I'm 1% gonna spoil you, but I did also scale this up so that I can get all the pixels, because now I zoom in and all the pixels are down there. When I was scaled down earlier, it was like the pixels were basically this big, which was kind of weird. It's kind of weird the way I did that. Not really. It's just resolution. It's just basic resolution rules. But bro, the smudger is so good. No, don't do that. Oh yeah, I like it. I like how it's turning up.
I awoke and chose violence.
Robotic is awakening and choosing violence. Who are you violencing against, Robotic? Who could it possibly be? Humans. Makes sense. Checks out. It's funny, in my book, it's a little bit of like a narrative. It's like a mild backstory bit where, I imagine a world, in passing, it kind of promotes some of the character points, but that AI, like it's almost like this. It's a society that has surpassed basically everything as far as technology goes. Like I say everything, that's a little hyperbolic, but it got to a point. Everything that we have, they surpassed everywhere that we're at, and they've gotten to the point where AI is maxed out, but also to the point where people despise it, and it is now illegal for AI to exist. But Jesco, who is actually this guy right here, that's supposed to be Jesco. He was in charge of it partially, and he played a big role in it. But when all the AI stuff was like criminalized, he still had like all of his server stuff, like all of his like just massive like data centers and stuff like that for the AI that they had. So with that, he uses his old data to try and figure out how to make clones, because AI isn't going to be a thing because it has its errors. But if he can make clones, because at the time it was clone technology that was being made was more so to try and remedy a population crisis. But he fundamentally was asked by Anik to make a clone body that he can like transfer his consciousness into. So because the body that he's in, he's dying, so he can't. And you learn all this like within the first couple of chapters, or not a couple of chapters, first like a few, like the first like 20 pages. And so when Anik comes to him and asks him like, hey, I want to live, Jesco uses his old data centers to basically like power him figuring out how to figure out clone stuff. It'd be like me using ChatGPT to try and solve world hunger. Like it's kind of what he's doing. He's using it to research. And so in doing so, he creates a clone, puts Anik in it, and that works out. But just soon after that, another player comes in, another superpower of sorts, and he also wants to have a body, and he's technically indebted to one because of a prior agreement, which you also learn in the first couple of chapters, for a couple pages, and very, very loosely. And so as a test, sort of a test run, Jesco puts Icarus into the pod, just to, as like a proof of concept, because this obviously this other leader guy isn't going to trust him completely. Like he wants a trial run, like a sort of like a proof of concept. And so he puts Icarus in there, and it works, but Icarus has a little bit of a mishap where so slight backstory. Icarus has two different personalities. It's not, I don't describe it like DID because it's not quite DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. It's not that. The thought process I have in it is basically in the relationship between a body and a soul, except as if the soul was like an actual other person. So he separates, the machine separates them, because it's supposed to transfer one consciousness from one body to another, but instead it separates them into two different bodies and leaves one of them behind. And then the whole rest of the book is basically Icarus trying to find his brother, because now his brother's missing, who is the other half that got separated. So, and that's basically the whole rest of the book. There's a whole bunch of, I say basically, there's a whole bunch of other things happening along the way, as far as other characters and other plot points and stuff like that. But that's Icarus's mission throughout the book, is him trying to find his brother and save his brother and get him back. So, so yeah, that's your little preview on that. If that sounds interesting, go buy my book. Be pretty good, pretty cool.
I awoke and chose violence.
If only you knew what I knew. Humans are doomed. Yes, yes, yes. I am aware. In fact, unironically, there is a chapter. A chapter, but also there's a monologue in my book that goes into the end of the world. And what in great detail, by the way. Ray! But yeah, there is a bit in my book that goes into great detail on the ultimate cause of the end of the world. And not to sound like an infographic, but it might surprise you. It's not going to be some AI. You have AI, you have population. Those play in superficially, but those aren't the causes. Those aren't the ultimate causes to what the end of the world will be. So, but I think it'll be fun. I think by the time the end of the world gets here, we're all gonna be too busy being dead, and we won't care at that point. So, roll. Yeah, no, I came up with the end of the world scenario in a conversation. I was just talking to somebody, and I was like, "Oh, well, actually, this would probably be," and I was talking. And then later that day, I quite literally, because I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. I was just like, oh yeah, this is probably like this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then boom, end of the world. And we all like kind of laughed it off, and it was funny. But literally later that night, I was just thinking about it even more, what I'd said. And I had a mild existential crisis, because it's just like, man, that's actually like, that would be what causes the end of the world. And it's a little too close to reality, what I just came up with. So I included that because I think it's interesting, and I think it would do a more service for people to know than, and to, at the very least, to avoid it, if not to acknowledge it. If it's not real, I would prefer it wasn't real. It is, unfortunately, but if not, if everyone is just delusional to it, at the very least, maybe people can be aware of it, so that they can mildly try to avoid it at the very least. So yeah. Anyway, how are you doing, Ray? What are you up to? What are you doing? Are you bothering people? Are you with Andy and Dragon and all them? Are you coming here to summon me? Probably. Or are you just lurking, watching me from behind bushes and stuff? I might restart stream in a moment because I meant to go live on Twitch and TikTok, but I accidentally went live on Twitch and YouTube, which is fine. But Twitch tends to get a lot more traffic, and this might be more interesting to TikTok people than it would be to YouTube people. So I might restart stream here in a half second to go fetch all those guys. That's not quite what I want. Yeah, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. But I will do that when I finish these wings. This side of the wings anyway. Wonder, because I want to get more contrast up on the tops of the wings. I can do by kind of dragging it up. And get the kind of the highlights on these outsides. The nice thing about the smudger on a digital platform is that it kind of just infinitely drags stuff. Unlike paint. So that's the plus side. Paint, you drag it out, but then you have to add a little more. Probably. But here I can just kind of mess with it. Sort of like it. Let's go. I say sort of. I just say that because obviously I haven't seen the whole thing yet, so I'm just kind of winging it. But that's probably mine. I hear nothing. Is anyone else? What? What do you mean? Y'all can hear me, right? Right? Volume should be coming through. Hello, testing. Volume should be coming through. Yeah, my volume's coming through. Hello, testing. Yeah. All right. Yeah, here, I'll do this. Everyone who's here currently over on Twitch, stay put. Anyone over on YouTube, go over to Twitch or to my TikTok or something. I assume I have those listed somewhere. If not, that's too bad. But but yeah, go find my Twitch, and then I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna go offline for like half a second. I'm gonna go live again over on Twitch and TikTok. I'm gonna restart. Okie dokie, Ray. Yeah, that'll give us both time to do stuff.